Hello, I'm Dr. Jo Cravatta, and today I'm going to be speaking about Ayurveda and allergies. Springtime has come, and many people are noticing that their allergies are beginning to affect them. What does that actually really mean? Well, according to Ayurveda, allergies are going to be related to both Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So what happens is that over the winter time, we can build up that kapha within us. And kapha season is cold and there's moisture. What happens is inside of us, we could be getting build up excess mucus. Maybe people gain a little bit of weight. And maybe there's a bit more toxins, impurities, or what Ayurveda calls ama. When all of that accumulates inside of us, when the warm weather begins to arrive, it's almost as if, like, we think of like the warm weather comes, the snow is melting, those places that have snow, but inside of us, the kapha begins to melt and it wants to move. Allergies are going to be related to that, but at the same time, it's also going to be any dryness in the nasal passages and the sinuses. In Ayurveda, we'd call that Udana Vata imbalance, Udana. It's also connected to inflammation. And this is how the allergies or the allergens affect you. When there's excess inflammation, and we'll have the relative weakness of the Vata that's in the nostrils and in the sinuses, that when there's that inflammation, means that your epithelial tissue inside of these areas, the sinuses, the nasal passages, you're going to be more prone to get irritated by outside substances. And so this could be different pollens. It could be tree pollens and grass pollens. A lot of people have what's known as hay fever. And all of this now will irritate you. And it brings the runny nose. It brings the watering of the eyes because of all that irritation. How do we address this? What does Ayurveda say is necessary to do in order to help these symptoms that have come to you this spring? Well, we need to actually address all three doshas, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, even though probably one of the most important ones to address is going to be the inflammation. What foods should we avoid during this season? Because of the inflammation, we want to make sure that we are not eating foods that are inflammatory. What can be inflammatory? Well, anything that's really hot and spicy can be inflammatory. Too much onions and garlic, too much chilies can be really inflammatory inside of the person. You know what happens when you start eating something too hot. You have some spicy food, and all of a sudden your nose might start to run and your eyes might start to water. It's almost as if you're having allergy symptoms just from eating the spicy food. So it's important not to overdo the spicy food during this time. Well, really any time, because why should we irritate ourselves with that hot, spicy food on a regular basis? But particularly this time. And what happens is that your bodily systems are trying to purify yourself and let go of built up mucus, which in a way is good, but you're going to aggravate the inflammatory component of the allergies. Ideally, one would want to avoid dry food, because dry food is going to aggravate the Vata. Vata is cold and dry. And so any dry food is going to aggravate the Udana Vata, right? Because You eat the dry food, it passes through all of Udana Vata and it goes into your digestive system. So avoid dry food, avoid cold food, ice cream, things right out of the refrigerator, ice in your drinks. Those are going to really greatly aggravate any allergy symptoms. And you want to avoid excess kapha foods like dairy and wheat, that those will aggravate it. Now, with dairy and wheat, not only will it increase the kapha in you, it is also inflammatory. The inflammation inside of you can be very much related to inflammation throughout your body and your liver. So I highly recommend that in the springtime, that everyone do some type of cleanse. Here at Shakti Veda, we do our liver cleanse. We actually do our liver cleanse 3 times per year. And I always feel like this one in the spring is so important. So any kapha that had been aggravated throughout the winter can be easily loosened and removed. Any inflammation that you may have is going to be greatly helped. Very, very beneficial to be doing a liver cleanse, like the type that we do here. And that is going to help with your symptoms of allergies, because the allergies, remember, has lots of that excess mucus and ama and kapha along with inflammation. Eating lots of green vegetables, because they're bitter and astringent, is also going to help that inflammation. It's going to help your liver, and it's going to help you decrease that kapha inside of you. What herbs are good for allergies? First of all, it's very important to use a nasya oil, Nasya. A nasya oil is an herbal oil that we put in our nostrils and that can go up into the sinuses. And so any oil is going to be beneficial for allergies because it helps to lubricate. Anything that's going to lubricate is going to help decrease the effects of the pollens and the allergies coming into you. But here at Shakti Veda, we have a very specific nasya oil called Allergy Relief Nasya Oil. And it has anti-inflammatory properties that will help to coat you, decrease the inflammation, decrease the swelling that might be in your nostrils and in your sinuses. And it's also going to be preventative from having allergens that will come in and affect you. We also have our herbal formula, Allergy Assist capsules. And these are wonderful, wonderful for allergies. It's specifically formulated to help with seasonal allergies. Some people have seasonal allergies throughout the whole entire year, but this it's very good anytime you need them, but in the springtime, it is such a blessing, this formula. There's things like nettles and some other wonderful herbs in there for you. It's also very important that we watch and make sure what our outside environment is like. If it's really windy, you might need to wear a hat. You might notice that be careful of what type of heating or cooling system you might have, particularly as you sleep, because any blowing wind is going to aggravate your having allergies, because it's going to aggravate that Udana Vata imbalance. If you follow these simple tips that I've given you today, I will think that you'll have much less problems with allergies throughout this season.